Hi fellow Virgos, it's Rebecca from Being Human Tarot here with your February 2019, can you believe it's 2019 already, reading. And this month I'm reading with the Fountain Tarot deck. So if you like the illustrations you see, I'll be sure to include a link in the description below so that you can check out that artist for yourself. For 2019, I want to switch up the format of these readings, but I wasn't able to come up with an idea for something new before shooting February's, and I didn't want to delay them because they've already been gone for a couple months because of other stuff I won't get into. But for the purposes of February, you're going to be seeing the same 3-card reading that I've done in months past, years past. Wow, no, haven't been doing this that long. And but keep in mind that March I'm going to try to refresh, come up with something new. And as a reminder, that 3-card spread, the first card indicates what to focus on for the month, the second card indicates what to set aside for the month, and the third card is just an additional consideration for the month. So I've already shuffled and laid out your cards, and I'll get right into the reading for you. As your first card and your focus for the month, you drew the 4 of Wands. The 4 of Wands stands for ritual and ceremony. Most commonly, people tend to think of weddings and celebrations, but it doesn't have to be on that kind of like exploding like happiness level. So if you're like not going to a wedding this month, it doesn't mean that the card is not for you. It can also be markers of passages of time. Markers of passages of time is a very passive construction, sorry. But so calendar events, seasons changing, if you're religious, maybe holidays that are specific to your religion, that kind of thing. And about honoring those times, honoring the changes and the passages. And in particular, you know, like a huge one that we just had is, of course, the new year. So if you're someone who likes to do something for the new year and maybe you didn't get a chance this year for whatever reason, you can still do it. It's still early on. It's only the second month. The cat is here. She's nudging me a little bit. So that might be something that's worth looking at if you're like the kind of person who likes to set goals or resolutions for a new year or do any other kind of, you know, I think some people eat black-eyed peas for the new year. Anything, oh, she bit me. Anything like that kind of is rooted in tradition and specifically in passage of time is going to be like a healthy thing for you this month. It could be actually going to a wedding, but it doesn't have to be that, because obviously not all Virgos on earth are going to a wedding in February. So kind of just keep in mind, or keep top of mind, because it's your focus for the month, that it's good and healthy and kind of like a thing we need as humans to acknowledge and recognize and participate in those different markers of time, if you will. As your set aside, you drew the Wheel of Fortune, which actually I just read for Leo, and Leo also drew the Wheel of Fortune as their set aside. And as I explained to Leo, you can't read this card as a set aside because it's a circle. And it's also it's the Wheel of Fortune, which is like destiny and just how things progress. Just sort of like the unpredictable, like as the world turns, nature of being alive on Earth. But aside from that, it's also the Wheel of Fortune is a circle, so you can't read it as a reversal because it's still a circle upside down. So as I said to Leo, the significance of it coming up and your set aside indicates that perhaps you're trying to be a little bit of a control freak, and you're resisting just the natural order of things. And the natural orders doesn't mean like what's necessarily a natural thing to be. Like, there are bad things that exist in the world, and unfortunately, like those aren't necessarily like natural. It's not like murder isn't natural, but to say that there's never going to be murder in the world, like yes there is. There's always going to be that. So it's kind of like, and especially my fellow Virgos, I know that like perfectionism is a thing that we can sort of strive for tirelessly, and it's just not achievable. And so the Wheel of Fortune in, you know, this position is a reminder of that. Sometimes we just have to go with the flow, and I know it's hard and we want to resist and it doesn't feel good, but it's just the way things are sometimes. So try to bear with it, at least for this month, at least for this period of time. In your position of additional considerations, you drew the Nine of Swords. Which I have to say, next to a couple of other front runners, the Nine of Swords is like the most Virgo-y card in the tarot. It's the anxiety card. It's the not sleeping at night, overthinking things, overanalyzing, just being a slave to your thoughts and not necessarily to reality. So I'm not sure that these are necessarily tied in with each other, super related this month. It does seem like if you keep resisting and resisting and resisting just the way life is sometimes, that will definitely bring you to this kind of state. So again, you know, to reiterate, try to go with things that you can't change as much as possible. Because if you struggle, you're just gonna end up in this state where you're exhausted and kind of like strung out and like not getting proper sleep. And it's a bad place to be, and it's also in this particular spread, and given where the wheel is and everything for this reading, it's very sorry, my throat's a little scratchy. It's very self-induced. So do your best to chill out this week. I say that without condescension because I give myself that advice a lot. Don't always take it, but I give myself that advice a lot. So that's your February reading, Virgo. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. I upload videos before the 1st of every month, and if you subscribe and then hit the bell icon, you'll be automatically notified as soon as I do that. Just keeps it really easy to know when there's new content. And that's it. Have a good February, Virgo. See you next month.